Hey guys, so in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about a absolutely beautiful 1 to 5 risk to reward trade that not only myself, but everyone in the Discord was able to take with me. So we took this sell limit on Euro USD on the 12th of March 2024. Now I sent out this trade at 10:27 in the morning, and we're going to be breaking this down together as I want to do this recap because it shows how time, price, and news all correlate with each other in order to give us a super beautiful trade setup. So stick with me, guys, and let's jump straight into it. Now, if you aren't part of the Discord yet, I would highly recommend going down in the description, clicking the link to join the Discord, and there you will also find a link in order to join my VIP group where we are consistently sending out super high quality trades, and we are also doing a lot of things such as backtesting sessions. We are doing weekly outlooks and a number of other things that is super beneficial for somebody who is not only new to trading but also an expert, because the entire community comes together to really figure out how to tackle the markets together every single day. So let's jump straight into this trade that we have right in front of us. So the first thing that we do when we come onto the markets is really figure out where we are in terms of our directional bias. So if we take a look at this chart right here, what can we see on the 4 hourly? Well, we can clearly see that we've broken this high right here and price has now traveled bullish. We've set in this higher high, then we've set in this higher low, and then we've broken this higher high, giving us this new higher high. Therefore, now that we've got this in mind, we understand that after a higher high comes a higher low. Therefore, our anticipation with price is that we want to see a push down into a higher time frame area of interest, from where we can potentially look for price to go up and set in a new higher high. So having understood all of that, our directional bias at the moment is bullish. However, order flow tells us that we are looking for a higher low to be formed before the continuation for the higher high. Therefore, if we can see a short, that would also be valid as long as we understand that that would be counter trend. So now that we've understood where we are in terms of our directional bias, first we have to identify our higher time frame areas of interest. So we have this 4 hourly order block right here, this push down before we get this impulsive leg out that broke structure. Now on the lower time frames, if you were to dig deep, you would be able to see that we can kind of see this on the 4 hourly, but you'd be able to see that there was this liquidity build up. We had this sweep of liquidity down, and then we had this impulsive move out that broke structure, which means that this area is very key for us as we move forward, because this is where price is going to be gravitating towards. So now as we cycle down through our time frames, what can we now also start to see? Well, right above this 4 hourly order block that we have down here, we also have this fair value gap. Now, we understand that a fair value gap is where we have exponential price movement in one direction. So in this instance, there was a whole bunch of buys with no sells. Therefore, price has left this inefficiency. And again, this is an area that price will be gravitating towards. So that lines up nicely with our 4 hourly area of demand, or this order block that we have right here. So we've got our higher time frame areas of interest, and we understand that price potentially may look to come down into one of these areas right here before giving us a push up and giving us a new higher high. Therefore, our anticipation is that we could see potential shorts from up here leading to the downside. Now, as we're on the lower time frames, let's now start to understand where we are in terms of our lower time frame directional bias. Well, as we can very clearly see, we've got this lower low right here, which broke structure to the downside, taking out all of this liquidity that was built up during the Asia and the London session. Now, overnight, we had price push up and give us this lower high. After this, we had this lower low put in during the New York session. So we had this expansion to the downside, giving us this new lower low. Therefore, order flow tells us that price should give us a lower high and then a lower low. Now, if we were to get this, that would be in line with our higher time frame directional bias, because our higher time frame is telling us that we will potentially see a new higher low put into place before a higher high. Therefore, because we understand the higher time frame bias, our lower time frame bias is now also matching. Therefore, this is now framing up to be a potentially very nice trading setup. So now what can we identify on the lower time frames? Well, on the 15-minute, we can't really see anything clear. However, this area seems to be of particular interest because this is where we had the expansion to the downside, which broke structure. However, because we can't see anything valid and clear, let's go up a time frame. Now, on the 30 minutes, what can we see? Well, we can immediately identify that we've got this area of consolidation where price has consolidated, and then we've had this expansion out, which has broken structure to the downside. Therefore, we know that right here, price is going to be gravitating towards, because that is a potential area where the banks and institutions have started to execute their orders, get their orders filled, and then push out to the opposite direction. Therefore, when price enters this area, we can expect some sort of move away. Now, this is all framing up to be a very high quality trade. Now we can add more confluences onto this sort of trade idea. So we understand that we are looking for shorts to take us down into this fair value gap or this order block down here. So as we've come onto the charts in the morning, at the moment it is 6:30 in the morning. We've understood that now the Asia session has built up its liquidity. So this is our Asia low. And if I play one more candle forward, if I go down to the 5-minute and I take us all the way to 7 o'clock, what can we see? Now that's 6:50. And right here we get the 7 o'clock candle. Beautiful. That means this is now our Asia high. So this is another key area for us because we understand that the Asia liquidity can also help us identify where price potentially may be looking to move. So now in this instance, when we woke up this morning, there was a high potential for us to push up, sweep this Asia liquidity, and then we could take shorts to the downside and continue this bearish move down into this fair value gap or order block. So that was the initial trade idea that we were very interested in. However, if I now play price on again, what we will start to see is that price, if I just speed this up a little bit, what we can see is that price gives us this a very minimal sweep of the Asia liquidity. Now, as you can see, it is very, very, very small. And because it was such a small sweep of liquidity, I thought, you know what, it is best to stay away a little bit so that we can get a little bit more confirmation. Because the last thing that I wanted for the VIP members is that we get a push down, giving us a market structure shift, only for price to push up to sweep this more validly into this higher time frame area of interest before giving us the actual move down. Now, because of this, and because I wanted to protect my VIPs, I thought it is best to wait for price to give us and show us exactly what it wants to do before jumping the gun. So as we can see, had we have taken that trade right here on the sweep of this 5-minute market structure that we've had right there, now this would have played out as well, because as we can see, we went down and swept the Asia lows. So this was a very nice trade that we could have taken. However, we decided to give it a miss. Now, that doesn't matter, because what can we see now happening? What we can see is that we've actually had a market structure shift on the higher time frames too. So what can we understand when we go up to the 15-minute? Well, we can understand that price was creating a series of higher highs and higher lows. It put in this higher high, put in this higher low, and then it broke this higher high, gave us this new higher high right here. And now it came down and broke this higher low to the downside, giving us a lower low. Therefore, once I saw this happening, I was very interested in price retracing back up, giving us a lower high before a continuation lower in line with our higher time frame analysis. Now, because I understood all of this and I understood where price was trying to go in terms of market structure, as I saw price progressing and creating this market structure, I thought, you know what? Price is developing very, very nicely. Now, my initial concept was to understand where price can potentially push up to and give us this lower high before the lower low. So for that, we have to understand what price has been doing on the lower time frames. Well, what can we identify? We can immediately start to identify that, first of all, price swept the high right here. So it swept all of this liquidity that was built above the Asia session. And then not only did it give us a market structure shift, but it gave us this entire expansion to the downside. Now, based off of that and looking at our 15-minute structure, again, what we can see on the 15-minute is that this candle right here is the one that swept all of this liquidity and then gave us the expansion to the downside. Now, when we understand that, what we can start to do is frame up a potential area where price can push up to and give us the short entry that we are looking for. Now, I identified this candle right here because this was the one that broke structure to the downside, swept the liquidity, and gave us this expansion. So once I identified this candlestick right here, I was very, very interested in getting involved in a short trade. So what did I do? I then marked out all of this. Let me put my short position right here. And I had stops just above the high. And then we were targeting all the way down here into our order block / fair value gap. Now, I did move the stops just a little bit high up like this, just so that we can cover the high and make sure price doesn't sweep us out. So if we go back and check, our stop loss was at 109429. So let me push this up, 109429. So we were covering a bigger area so that price didn't sweep us out with a wick. And then we were targeting the opposing liquidity, which was sat in the fair value gap. Now, that is our trade framed up. That is what we were looking at. If we take a look at the TP, it was 109009. So if we go down, 9009. Where is that? There it is right there. So that was our target. So that was a nice 1 to 5.45 risk to reward. Now, it was a 1 to 5 that I took. So I'm just going to shorten the TP just for the sake of this backtest because the numbers are a little bit different on every broker. So now this was the trade that we had marked up. We understood the higher time frame directional bias. We framed up a beautiful trade. And now all that's left is to place this limit right here, just like that. And after I sent out this trade at exactly 10:27, now it was just a simple case of waiting. So now we just play price on all day. Price decided to move around just a little bit. And then eventually, as we get closer and closer into the New York session, price gives us the tap right there. So now we've entered. And if I now bring this up, this is now our open position, 1% risk on our 100K funded account. And if I play price on, what we can see, boom, price decides in one candle to give us a beautiful $5,000 profit on one trade. Now that happened really, really fast. And as you can see, our targets were perfect. Now, why were they perfect? It's because we understand the higher time frame areas of interest that price can target, such as this fair value gap and this order block down here. We've done perfect execution by understanding exactly where we were in terms of time, price, and the fundamental news analysis, because we knew that this is exactly what we were expecting. So that was a beautiful 1 to 5 risk to reward trade that not only myself, but everyone in the Discord was able to take with me. Now, this was done on FX Replay because I wanted you guys to see how it would look if you did have a 100K funded account and you took this trade that I sent. You would have made a solid $5,000 on your money. Now, if you were to withdraw that, that would be a beautiful paycheck simply by following the trades that I sent. So I hope you guys were able to understand how we are able to look at the higher time frames and correlate those with the lower time frames in order to frame up a high quality trade. And again, I'm going to be using FX Replay to do a little bit more back testing and also some similar trade recaps, so you guys can see in real time how it would look when you are entered into trades and how they behave whilst you're in the live markets. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And again, if you haven't joined the Discord already, feel free to go down in the description and then join the Discord, and there'll be a link to join the VIPs as well, so that you can start taking a lot of these trades with us. But on that note, guys, I hope everyone has had an incredible trading a month and a trading week, and I hope everyone has an incredible trading week for the next week, and I will see you guys in the next video.